Today we're going to do something a little different. Today we're going to talk about one of the fundamentals that it takes to reach to the top or to reach to your certain goal that you were placed on this planet to be. I know that when you're sitting in bed or you're stuck on the couch watching TV or you're eating yourself to death, you know it in your heart that this is not what you were sent to this earth to do. You have a goal, you have a passion, you have a vendetta, you have a purpose for you to complete in life. As of late, a friend of mine has been going through a tough time within the terms of love that has stumped his progression into where he would like to be. I offered him some advice that also helped me during that certain time. Now I can share it to you guys in hopes that you guys can apply it to your life if something like this has affected you. Guys, girls, I need you to realize the relationships are always going to be there. For guys, the girls and women are always going to be there. They're not going anywhere. For women, the boys are always going to be there. You will find your person in the way that God intended you to find your person. But up until that point, stop making love or relationships one of your top priorities. You cannot get into a relationship if the love that you're focusing on isn't within yourself. You shouldn't be trying to focus on loving another person if you have yet to achieve that within yourself. Now, for those that are driven and really want to reach their purpose, I can tell you clear and cut right now, a relationship should be the last thing in the back of your mind. And by that, I'm not saying don't love, forget about love, be stone cold and heartless and a robot. Fall in love with the world. Fall in love with all of its elements, with all of its glories, with all of its treasures. If you are lucky enough to find a person who loves you and you love them and you are both building towards the top, that is great. But anything other than that is simply a distraction. For guys, those women that you meet in the clubs, those random women that you meet on the streets of Hollywood or Wynwood, they're a distraction. They want one thing, and that is to have fun and distract you from your goals. Unless you are planning on committing to this woman, she is a waste of time and just another obstacle that is in your way, preventing you from reaching your higher purpose in which you were put on this planet to fulfill. For women, it is the same exact thing. Now, I believe in preserving femininity. This meaning my woman personally, unless she has a preference to work, she doesn't have to. I believe it should be preserved and masculinity should be built. I don't believe any man deserves a woman unless he has taken the steps to build himself up into his masculine self. And by masculine self, I don't mean toxic masculinity. To me, masculinity is a man who can be strong and driven and protective, all that, yes. But a masculine man can also be soft and loving and kind. A masculine man is not afraid to love. You do have to stand up for yourself, agreed, but don't cut love or feeling out of your life at all, because, and I know a lot of men need to hear this, just because you love does not make you any less of a masculine man. A dangerous man are those two things combined. A man who is capable of killing, a man who has the capability of protecting himself, his family, his friends, and his loved ones, but also a man who knows he doesn't always have to prove it. He knows it himself. He doesn't have to act all tough, and when somebody bumps shoulders with you along the sidewalk, you're not gonna jack them up. That is what we would call toxic masculinity. You have to be tough in this life, in this world, agreed, but do not cut out and blind yourself to the whiter side of life. Some people live life in black and white. Me personally, I believe I fit in with those people, but sorry, I meant black and gray. I believe I fit into those people, but there is always that white silver lining right there, and you shouldn't cut it out. That is how you keep peace and clarity of mind. That is how you can keep yourself centered so that you are able to put 100% of your work ethic and your energy into the goals to fulfill the purpose that you were put on this planet to do. Fall in love with everything. The ground you walk on, the sky that you stare up at, the leaves falling off of the trees that we pull oxygen from. Fall in love with all of that, but also realize you were not also put on this earth to laze around in bed. You were not put on this earth to stalk that girl's Instagram. Women, you were not put on this earth to stalk that boy's Instagram. You have no idea the amount of women I know that their life is centered around boys' attention. Oh, I'm gonna shark. I just now got 6 Instagrams of guys that I'm not ever going to talk to, but I love the attention. You need to find a better drive, because you, everybody, women, men alike, we're all put on this planet to fulfill a purpose, and it is not boys lazing, sleeping all day, overeating yourself to death to an unhealthy death. You were put on this planet to teach, or to nurture, or to protect, or to guide, or to mentor, or to reach sky's the limit, because God says with him nothing isn't impossible. That's not exactly how he said it, but I just rephrased it. I believe within any relationship, if one does end, sure, both parties are going to be upset, both parties are going to be hurt, and they aren't going to want to fully break down and analyze the situation. All you're going to want to do is cast blame on somebody. Oh, he did this, or she did this. But both men and women alike, especially men, because men nowadays do not know how to take accountability for their actions. Me personally, I believe if any relationship ends under any circumstance, I don't care if the woman was bat crazy. I've always believed that it is the man's fault, but I think that it can benefit both parties, men and women, to realize that there was faults on both of their parts, because you cannot grow by thinking you're doing nothing wrong. You grow by analyzing your failures, analyzing your faults, see where you fell short, and build up upon those. Yes, I did this wrong. I apologize. Let me work on this within myself. So now, maybe for this relationship, if we can work on this, is 10 times better. Or maybe for the next woman, I now know how to handle this. Girls, maybe you can analyze what you did wrong on your part. You can build that upon yourself and either get back with the guy, or you now have what you were missing to now treat the next guy the way that you want to love. But either way, success isn't measured off of the men you date, off of the girls that you sleep with. It's not measured on any of that. It's measured on hard work, on dedication, on driven, and a little bit of luck. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that to make it, you just have to work really hard every single day and it's not luck, but there is a bit of luck that plays into it. But here's the catch: you have to work every single day and be driven and get a little bit better after each failure by working hard every single day to put yourself into that situation where you can be lucky. Because I'm sorry, you're not going to just sit home and eat and sleep and watch TV and Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max all day and just wound up lucky, woohoo, I'm a millionaire. That's not how that works. You have to work hard every single day. No distractions. Focus. Go into what the people call a monk mode. And by doing so, you wound up into the situation of where you can find yourself lucky. Never allow a man to ruin your flow. Never allow a woman to put you down. Maybe I should have said that the opposite way, but still, it counts. If it didn't work out, it was for a reason, and that person, life, or God, whatever you choose to believe in, put you away from this person for a very specific reason. You aren't going to want to be with the same person that you guys do not have agreeing principles. Sure, now you guys argue all the time and you're in a very unhappy relationship, all because you couldn't handle the hurt that it took to be separated from that person. I understand and I get it. It hurts. Everybody goes through it. But how you handle it is how you end up coming out in the end. Do not seek revenge. As a man said, if you go out seeking revenge, you might as well dig 2 graves while you're at it. Dedicate yourself for a single year and watch how much can happen. If you have 0 distractions, 0 women, 0 men that you are focusing on, and you wouldn't believe where you could possibly end up. Cut out all the friends, cut out all of the boys and girls, all the men and women, all of the toxic principles, all of the toxic habits, the bad habits in your life. Cut it all out. Eat clean, work out, stay healthy, clear your mind, be at peace, be centered, and work hard. Be disciplined as much as you possibly can. And these are the fundamental keys, or at least you've now laid the groundwork to now begin to get to where I know you've dreamed of being. The women, the men, always be there. If you are one of the lucky few who find a woman or women who find a man that you can grow with and support each other, and you guys have the goals in mind to get to the top, to get to that future that you are both seeking and searching and working so hard for, fantastic. That is worth it. That you don't want to lose. You want to keep that for as long as you possibly can, or forever if you play your card right, or if it was meant to turn out that way. But if it is not anything like that, if it is not dedicated relationship, support, work, and all that, it's a waste of time. You have to branch out and grow and have a life outside of that relationship if you choose to be in one with this dedicated person. You cannot live through your woman. You cannot live through your man, because next thing you know, when they're low, you're low. When all of your energy goes into said person, what energy do you have left for yourself? Especially being young. Now, my podcast, my show, my channel is mostly targeted and directed towards young entrepreneurs, because me, myself, I'm just sharing my journey and what I've learned and what I'm trying to learn while getting to the top. It can work for many other ages, but if you are trying to be a young entrepreneur, this is the channel for you. I go through every single fundamental that plays into being young, that plays into your success that you are striving toward. Love is one of the hardest ones. It's difficult, but it is a necessity. And once you get to where you have to be, to where you want to be, have all the fun you would like to. Okay, but just because you're at the top does not mean that you get to slack off. Now that you're at the top, you have to preserve it. You have to play your cards right, because the same way that you built yourself up to there and got lucky, that luck can be taken away just like that. But until then, stay focused, stay driven, cut out distractions. I want you to do that for at least 2 months, 3 months. Focus on one single thing, 0 distractions, become the best at that thing, and just watch how astonished you end up with yourself. You will be absolutely stunned by the man or woman you've aimed to become within those 3 months. You would have gotten better in those 3 months than you would have in 2 years if you did not cut out these distractions. Now, as I said, the women, the men, they will always be there. Focus on you. I believe in you guys. Good luck.